welcome to the Explainer. So, we've gotten our hands on something pretty special, the private files of a security researcher, and today we're going to open them up and pull back the curtain on this hidden global conflict. A war that's being fought not with bullets, but with bits and bytes. And really, to get to the heart of what's in these files, you gotta start with a simple question. In this world of covert ops, are the good guys and the bad guys actually playing by different rules? Well, according to this research, when the battlefield is digital, those lines get really blurry. It turns out the playbook for things like spying, disruption, and deception, it's pretty much shared by everyone, from intelligence agencies all the way down to cybercrime gangs. Okay, to really get into this stuff, you need to know the jargon, right? The official term for all these digital spy games is CNO, which stands for Computer Network Operations. Basically, it's the art of digital warfare. All right, so let's kick things off with the big players. We're going to dive right into how governments are using the internet as a weapon. And I mean really using it, moving way beyond just defending their networks and into full-on active offensive missions. In these files, they give us a direct look at legally authorized offensive operations. I mean, take Glowing Symphony. This wasn't about, building a digital firewall. No, this was a U.S. Cyber Command mission to actively hunt down and completely dismantle pro-ISIS online infrastructure. We're talking their forums, their propaganda channels, the whole shebang. And look, it's not just about direct attacks. What's really fascinating here is seeing how other nations operate. So, back during the 2009 Iran election protests, the UK's intelligence agency, GCHQ, created its own URL shortener. Yeah, a URL shortener. And as this quote on the slide reveals, what looked totally innocent was actually a super powerful surveillance tool. It was designed to track exactly who was clicking on what during a time of intense civil unrest. Okay, so launching attacks, that's one half of the story. The other half, and this is arguably the much bigger half, is all about watching. And in the digital world, that pretty much means watching, well, everyone. So you have these programs, right, like Anti-Crisis Girl, and they totally reveal the playbook for what's called passive SIGINT, that signals intelligence. The passive part is key here. It means they're not attacking, they're just listening. Instead of, say, breaking down a door, GCHQ would just embed web analytics tools on sites they were interested in. This let them monitor all the traffic, see who was visiting controversial sites like WikiLeaks, and build this massive web of data connecting people to what they were doing online. And sometimes they don't just watch the existing traffic, they build the trap themselves. These files detail how the NSA apparently spread free VPN services across forums in Iran. Now, to the users, this must have seemed like a gift, right? A way to get around censorship. But in reality, it was a data-gathering operation designed from the ground up to eavesdrop on all their communications. And wow, this image here, it really drives home the sheer scale of this conflict. Just try to imagine that each one of these links is a forum, a propaganda site, or maybe a server used by a group like ISIS. For intelligence agencies, every single one of these URLs is a potential breadcrumb, another tiny clue in a vast ocean of data. So, okay, if governments are the players on one side of the board, who exactly are they fighting against? Let's meet the other adversaries on this digital battlefield. And what you find is that the opponents in this war are, well, they're incredibly diverse. On one hand, you've got these ideologically driven groups involved in what's called cyber jihad, using the internet for recruitment and propaganda. But then on the other hand, you have purely profit-driven criminal gangs, like the folks behind the KubeFace botnet, which was this massive enterprise all about infecting computers to make money. And of course, we can't forget that other nation-states are huge players in this game. These files break down that infamous phishing attack attributed to Russia's GRU during the 2016 US election. It was a simple, but man, was it a devastatingly effective four-step process. First, create a lookalike domain. Step 2, mask it with a URL shortener. Step 3, send it to a high-value target. And boom, Step 4, you've stolen their credentials. And this right here is the crucial takeaway. When you put the tactics side by side, just like we've done on this slide, that shared playbook becomes absolutely undeniable. Look at this. GCHQ uses fake online aliases, sock puppets. The GRU used the fake persona Guccifer 2.0. GCHQ sends spoofed emails to deceive people. The GRU used spoofed domains. See what I mean? It's the same exact set of dirty tricks, and it really doesn't matter who's using them. And all of this brings this huge global conflict right down to a really personal level. Because in a war that's fought with information, your phone and your computer, well, they're the front line. Yet this threat is not abstract at all. These files actually name specific GCHQ programs like Absoline Epsilon, and this thing was designed explicitly to use your iPhone's unique device ID to track you, to correlate all your activity, and even to find ways to infiltrate your private network. So, faced with all this, what can you actually do? Well, the research doesn't just lay out the threats. It gives us a clear 3-step strategy for digital self-defense. First step, build a digital wall around your devices with a strong firewall. This means you're actively controlling what data gets in and what goes out. Second, obfuscate and isolate. The idea here is to hide your online activity, to kind of blend into the crowd and make your specific digital footprint way harder to track. And third, harden your endpoint. That just means making your devices themselves tougher, closing the very vulnerabilities that these surveillance tools are built to exploit. And the research even points to a specific toolkit. Now listen, some of these are for pretty advanced users, but it's the concepts that really matter. Take Pi-hole, for example. That's something you can set up on your home network to block ads and trackers for every single device, not just your browser. There are even deceptive tools like a canary honeypot, which basically sets a trap for hackers and alerts you if someone's poking around your network where they shouldn't be. The whole point of all this is to shift your mindset from being a passive target to being an active defender of your own digital life. Which ultimately leaves us with one final question. As states and criminals keep using the same digital tactics, and as our personal devices literally become the battlefield, we have to decide what our role is going to be. In this invisible war, are you an active participant in your own defense, or are you just a target?